Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook this week. I'm starting with the DXY on the daily. So, like I've mentioned many times before on the daily, we're looking for that C down. There's two scenarios here. We either get a correction in here for more upside to go and break the top, or we get a sell set up to sell for that C down. So last week on the H4, I warned of selling just yet because this can be a flat here. We got that like A, B, C. It's turn motive. We got up to that 123.6. Last week I was looking at some sort of an A, B, C, and even it becomes more complex as an A, B, C, and then we get an A, B, C before we get more upside. I dare say this scenario here is got a high probability of playing out because we're looking at a correction a similar size as this over here. So it's pretty much played out how we're looking at last week. To get into this now, well, last week as well, I mentioned that we had this bull hidden here, and this was the reason why I said if you're looking for sells, you have to be very careful. We have that bear, a bullish hidden divergence here. On the H1, to get in on this now, again, you have to be very careful because this can be an A, B, C in here as a running flat, and then you get an A, B, C, filling in the time factor before you get the wave Z up or the wave 5 up. I haven't got it labeled. I still got it labeled as ABC. I should have changed that, but this is turning more into it like a WXY X2, and we get that Z up. So if I just go down to the lower time frame to see if there's any sort of setup we can get. So you'd be looking at, we got a nice impulse up, we got one down, we got 3 up, we may get 5 up as a flat, and then you get this one down. If you get the one down and then a buy setup, well, you can buy as an A, B, C, and then you get an A, B, C. I wouldn't be buying this in here because it'll more than likely just come up, break that top, and then fall over on you. So you really need to wait for a flat here. I mean, this is looking rather bullish for another one up. I'd be waiting for this one down and then a bullish setup to buy. And the buy is only a scalp like I showed on the H4 because more than likely it will turn into a larger correction. AU on the daily. Nothing's changed on the daily on the AU. We're still looking at this trading in this direction of this C up. Like I've said for many, many months now, we can get down to this 100 fib or even break this low, and it's still going to be a B wave. This in here is still going to be a B wave. So I'm only looking to trade in this direction for this larger C, just waiting for the setups on the lower time frame to trade in that direction. H4. So not much has changed on the H4 either since last week. We're looking at that A, B, WXY, X2, and a Z down. you can either look at this as a complex correction or a flat. But we got an A, a B, and a C come clean up to that 100 pip and fell over. Pretty much exactly how I've been looking at this for a very long time. We were looking for the buy up to this 100 pip down in here. On the H1, I couldn't rule out last week that we'd get a Z up. So I was looking for that WXY. We were at that, getting close to that 100 fib last week. We can get an A, B, C in here, and then another one going breaking the top. That didn't happen. It fell over pretty much straight away. Again, I'm not really interested in the sells, but you could sell if you want. I trade in the direction of the daily time frame, or the higher time frames. So now you can only sell this, but again, we're getting to a low, so you want to be keeping your stops tight. I would be looking for some sort of, it looks like we've already got some sort of WXY, X2 and a Z down, or this may be a flat in here, and then you get another one down. I would be waiting for a nice impulse up and looking for a buy setup. Any buy setup I get, I'll be looking for a buy for that wave C up on the daily. GU. So there's two scenarios here on the daily. Like I'm looking at that A, B, C. So that may be the end of the move, unless we start looking at this as some sort of a larger flat in here for the C up. That is still possible. We're waiting to see what happens in here after this move here is finished. We want to see what happens in here. If it's corrective, well, then we can sell down, to the 61.8, or it can even go and break this low, like I've shown on the monthly before in previous videos. On the H4, we're looking for that X2. So we got this WXY. We're waiting for an X2 and a Z down. We're looking for this time factor here to get that Z down. This again might be an A, B, C, and you get a flat in here, and then you get the A, B, C, filling in that time factor before you get that Z down. So if you're trading next week, I would be taking this into consideration before you sell at this stage here. H1, you have to be extremely careful here. Like I mentioned on the H4, you can look at this as an A, B, C. We have a bull hidden here. So there's nothing to say that this can't go up and break the top for an A, B, C, and then we get an A, B, C, filling in the time factor before we get the wave Z down on the H4. So really, we're at the lows of the market on the daily. We're getting to a low, so I wouldn't be, selling. But if you wanted to, you could. I would be waiting for this one up here, and then if you got a sell set up, I'd be selling from a top and then looking for the wave Z down on the H4. If you got a sell set up in here, you could also look for one down. But again, I'd be waiting for all this to finish, a buy setup, and looking for a buy when we're down at this low. If I just go back to the daily quickly, we've had this wave down in here. Wherever this wave finishes, we're going to get a correction. we're either going to get a correction or it's going to take off and give us a buy setup. More than likely, we're going to get a sell setup for another one down as a 1, 2, 3. And this may turn more complex overall as some sort of a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up as a complex correction, or something else before we get another big move down. EU, nothing's changed on the daily on this one either. We're really looking to trade in this direction for the C up. The H4, we did lose all the bullish divergence in here, and we have a bear hidden here. Like I mentioned last week, we had that bear hidden. So I said, if you're buying, you've got to be very careful because this can come down and break the low, and that looks like what it's going to do. So what we can do now, there's a couple of scenarios here, it's like many of the others. This can be a B wave in here, and we get an A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, B, C. This one here, we have a bull hidden as well. So, if you get a buy set up, you can buy. You're buying into a correction, but you're trading in the direction of the higher time frame, that daily possible more upside, or at least a larger correction. If you got this other one up here and then a sell set up, well, you definitely could look to sell to go and break the low. NU on the daily, nothing's changed on the on the daily. We're looking at that A, B, C, and like I've mentioned before, this can turn into a WXY, X2, and a Z down. Like I've mentioned the last couple of weeks now, this is looking very corrective for another one down. H4, a while ago I was looking at 1, 2, 3 to come and break this low. That was the problem. This one here never broke that low. So I said you have to be very careful with selling this, because it can come up, break the top, and then give you another one down. And this is more than likely turn more complex as well. As an A, B, C in here, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, or 1 up in here as a complex correction before you get more downside. So again, if you're looking for the sell at this stage, you have to be very careful because we can get another one up in here before you get the sell set up to go and break the low. Daily on the GY. I've gone over this quite a few times. We're looking at that WX, extended wave Y, X2, and then a Z up. In here, we've got a WXY, looking at an X2, and we get that Z up. On the H4, like I've mentioned for a very long time now, this is looking corrective. We did come out and break the trend line. So really, we're only looking for buys. I'm looking for an A, B, C down, and then possibly A, B, C, or it may turn motive to go and break the top for that wave Z, internal wave Z. It has come down a little bit further than it's still fine. It's turning into an expanding flat. So I would be, you're trading at the top of the market on this one. So you really want a nice setup to buy this. You want to wait for this wave to finish get a nice impulse up. Then if you get nice correction, flag, you could buy. Just go and break this top here mainly, but it can go up and break the for that wave Z on the daily, internal wave Z. UY on the daily. So nothing's changed on this one on the daily either. We're looking at that A, B, C in the B wave, and then we're looking to trade in the direction of the daily down this larger impulse. Looking for a C down. H4, this is, it's quite risky, this pair. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last week, but we had this fat fingers. Well, I think I did mention it last week. We had this nice move down in here. We have to be very careful. We have a bull hidden in here. So it hasn't broken this low. So this can go up and break the top. Like I mentioned last week, you have to be extremely careful with selling. And more than likely, this is an A, B, and we get a C down in here, and then we get another one up. So I can't really go into it much more than that on YouTube, but we go down to the H1. We got this nice, we had this nice impulse down, and then it comes straight back up, and then we have 1, 2, 3 in here. We got 3 up in here as well. So we got 1, 2, 3 up. This can still give another one up here, but all this, whatever's happening in here, is corrective as a B wave. So we get an A, B, C before we get more upside. If this top here gets broken in this wave up here, will more than likely it'll turn into a running or expanding flat. And then if you got a buy set up down here, well, you could look for a buy. Other than that, you're really looking for a sell. But if you're looking for the sell, more than likely it'll just be a C down. So it's really only a scalp for this down in here, and you'd have to, you know, see if you've got a buy set up. Well, you'd want to get out of your trades wherever they are up here and take the buy. CAD on the daily. This is very tricky indeed, you know. Looking for that W, X, Y, X2, and we're looking for these targets. So 123.6 as your first target and the 161.8 as your second target, or at least go and break this top for the wave Z. H4 has been very tricky. We got this W, X, Y, X2. We got the Z up. We had this impulse down. I was just looking for a correction in here for more downside. It took off, like I mentioned last week. So now we have we get 1, 2, 3, get a bull hidden in here, and we get a 5th one up, and I'm looking at that as an A, B, C as a flat before we get more upside. So again, if you're buying this, you definitely want to be a break even at that top. And then you'd be looking for a sell. If you're a scalper, you could look for the sell, and then you could look for the buy. I dare say this flat will play out. On the H1, you definitely can look to buy this, you know, pretty textbook stuff, really. We have a bull hidden here, you know, got an impulse up, getting a correction in here. You could look for the buy just to break that top. And yeah, then you'd be looking for one down like I showed. The Swissy on the daily, So we got that bullish divergence as an A, B, C, nice impulse up. We're looking for a correction to buy. On the daily, on the H4, we are still looking for X2. Here we got like a WXY. I'll be looking for an X2 and a Z up. This here we're looking at, I showed all my trades here last week. You know, I've got one in there, and another one in there. I got out of this one here. I did add to my position in here. It's been taken out now. But I was looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here to finish off this wave Y. Instead, we only got 3 up in here. And now we're getting a larger correction. So we're getting a H4 correction now. This is going to be quite easy to trade, in my opinion. I can't go over how we get into these hidden divergences and that, but we have a hidden divergence here. So looking for this wave to end, nice impulse up, correction for that wave Z up on the H4. Still looking for that. So I'm only looking for buys. I'm not looking for sells. I'll take this off because we never got that wave Z up. And the reason we didn't is because of this correction here. This one's become a lot larger. If it had gone from here, it would have been fine. But it didn't go from here. So pretty much ruling out the H1 wave Z up, and we're just getting a X2 on the H4. There really isn't much you can do. You know, we had that, we've got a bear hidden here. With this sharp move up here, we got a bear hidden. So I wouldn't be surprised if that low gets broken. Then if you got a bullish setup, you could buy. But you'd have to be careful because this can be an A, B, C as a flat, and then you get another one down before it goes. Yeah. So just keep that in mind if you are looking to trade this at this stage. EG. So nothing's changed on the daily. We're looking at that A, B, C. Got an A, B, sorry, a WXY, X2, and we can get a Z down in here. This in here looks very choppy. It may not be over. I think we were looking for a buy on the lower time frames. Looking at that 1, 2, 3, and then this is a flat. We got a sell set up in here a couple of weeks ago. It did go, but it's very slow. It did come down onto the 100 fib on the H1. So perhaps I should go down to the H1. Before I do that, I should show you this. So this can be an A, a B, a C up in here as a running flat, and then we get an A, B, C, or this turns motive, and we get the 5 down breaking the low. Either or can happen at this stage. So, and we are getting a bear hidden in here as well. So more than likely, this is a flat for more downside. And ideally, this large flat here plays out, and we do go down and break that low. Then we get a buy set up. Then we can load up to buy for a longer term trade. On the H1, this is where it gets tricky because I can't really go into it because it's for the group, but you know, it's only things that I share in the group. And yeah, so really on this time frame, you can only buy, contradicting what I said on the H4. It's because I can't go into what we actually do in the room. But yeah, we sort of got a flat in here as 1, 2, 3 up. So if you got a nice impulse down, you can sell for that flat. Yeah, that's all I'll go into for that. So WTI, we're looking at that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got the 5 down. We got getting an impulse up. We'd be looking for the larger correction, a daily correction, to buy. On the H4, we're still looking for that Z up. We got this like WXY, looking at X2, and we get a Z up. There was a nice setup on this. It was quite risky because we did have a deep pullback, but we got a nice impulse up. We did get a very large correction of this impulse here. First targeting that 100 fib, but this may turn motive as a WXY, X2, and a Z up. If you aren't in it already, you pretty much have to wait for an X2 to trade a Z up just to go and break that top. Yeah, more than likely it will turn motive. So really, you'd have to go down to the low. I'll just go down to the lower time frames. But so really, to enter it now, you'd have to wait for one in here as an A, B, C, as some sort of a flat, some sort of a correction before you can get an A, B, C. So you really need to wait for a correction before you can trade it. You know, yeah, wherever this wave here ends, and if you got a sharp move down, then a bullish setup, then you could look to buy. For the sell, there is no sell at this stage. Gold has taken off, as you can see. So looking for that WXY. We got down to that 123.6. I was looking at an internal wave in here as a WXY, X2, and a Z down. This is more of the H4. Last week I said you have to be careful buying if you're getting into the buy, because we got that like 1, 2, 3 down. There was a possible bear hidden here, and I said last week, you know, so if you're getting into buy, you have to be careful because we can get a Z down. Now we're getting a rather large impulse. If it goes up and breaks this top, taking out the possible bear hidden, and it still can come down from here and break that low, we have a bear hidden here. It's not valid to trade, but you know, I can't go into that. But you know, if it goes up, breaks this top, then you get a correction back to the 50 fib of this move here, or you get a retracement or correction. Well, then you can look to buy. Don't want to be buying up at the top here. That's what marketers do. The H1, very similar to you know, H4. This is where you wanted to get in. This is your correction here. So you got to look at a WXY. You have to wait for an X2, and then you can trade the Z up if you're not in it already. It's as simple as that. You don't want to be trading flags up here. you'll get burnt more times than you'll get profit. You got to wait for that correction. You got to wait for it. And how high can this go before we get the correction? So we're nearly at this 161.8 here. So, you know, if we get a bounce off of that, more than likely we'll get a bull hidden in here. Then you can trade that wave Z up. Silver, and very similar to gold. If you've been following me for a while, you know that what I've been looking at. We got 5 up in here. We had a bull hidden here. So we're looking for this wave 5. The thing was that we lost the bearish divergence in that wave 5 up here. So ever since that happened, I've just been looking for a correction for more upside. H4, we still, it's very similar to gold. We may get a bear hidden here. So again, you have to be quite careful because we got 1, 2, 3, and we're getting a possible bear hidden here. So we can get a wave Z down still. It's very similar to gold. You know, this one hadn't gone as far in the, this one, like I mentioned last week, we got 1, 2, 3. This didn't come from a low. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here already with possible bearish divergence in here. So, you know, that bear hidden, if you got a impulse down, a correction, well, then you could sell for that wave Z. Other than that, you know, if you're trading flags, well, you have to be very careful until this top gets broken. You can really only start buying now after we got 5 up here if that top there gets broken, or else it's a sell. Bitcoin on the daily. So this is playing out exactly how I've been looking at it for a very long time. We got 1, 2, 3 up as an expanding flat. We got an extended wave in here. We got to move down, looking for a correction to sell down to this low, at least breaking this low here. Ideally, it goes down and breaks this low here as well. On the H4, we're getting, it's becoming more, if I just go over this, we got like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 as a complex correction at this stage, as a 3, 3, 3. Some people look at it as a running expanding flat. That's not following Elliott wave rules. Simple as that. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This can turn into a 4, and we get a 5th one up in here as a 3, 3, 5 complex correction before we get more downside. So this move up in here still may not be over. So if you're looking to sell down here, you have to take that into consideration, keeping tight stops, because it can come up here. We do have a bull hidden here. So it can come up here. Ideally, it does come up here, and then you get a sell set up. You're selling from a top, and then you can look for the sell. Because you've already missed the sell here. Well, some of you may be in it, but you know, at this stage, you know, this was your sell in here for that. You don't want to be selling in here. I mean, it may give you another one down in here, and it may not break that low. It just comes down, breaks this low here, and then takes off on you, and you wonder what's going on. Well, we're getting may get a 3, 3, 5 pattern. So this is quite difficult at this stage. You you know, well, you can see what I'm looking at on the H1. You know, we still can get an X2 and a Z down in here, not breaking that low, and then it takes off, giving us that fifth wave up on the H4 to finish off that complex correction. This is looking rather bearish, so you can, once you get this time factor here over here, well then, you know, if you got to sell, you could sell just as a scalp to go and break the low. You definitely want to be at break even when that low is broken, because it can just break that low and take off on you. S&P on the daily. So this one's playing out rather nicely, how I'm looking at it at this stage. We got that 1, 2, 3, looking for a 4 and a fifth one up. These are your targets here, the 123.6 and the 161.8, or at least go and break this top. Is it giving us a setup on the lower time frames? That's the thing. So for a long time, we've been looking at this as a 1, 2, 3 down to the 100 fib. That 100 fib's been taken, has been hit. So your target for the downside's been hit. We do have the time factor here. It may give another one down here on the lower time frames, because you know, we are getting a bear hidden here. So there's nothing to say this comes down, breaks the low again, and then gives you the buy setup to fill in the rest of this time factor for the correction. We aren't quite there yet. So again, if you're looking for the buy, you're going to have to be careful, because this can come down and break that low. On the H1, it's more of a buy because we have a bull hidden here. So we got like 1, 2, 3, getting a wave 4, we can get a wave 5 up. We do have a bull hidden in here. So, I mean, you can scalp this wave 5 up if you're really desperate for a trade. But I would be waiting for this wave 5 up, and then if I've got a sell set up, you definitely could look for the sell, just to go and break that low, and then you'd be looking for the buy. This is the one you don't want to miss. You know, if this whole structure plays out and the bear hidden on the H4 plays out, well, you know, then this is a trade that you don't want to miss for that wave 5 up. AU 200 on the daily. So we still haven't got down to this 100 fib. Looking, this has been very choppy. We've got this 1, 2, 3 up in here. 1, 2, 3. And then we're looking for 1, 2, 3. It hasn't quite got down to this 100 fib target. That doesn't matter. At this stage, it's very difficult to trade because we haven't broken this low. So unless you're looking at this as a contracting flat, which you really can't look at it as contracting flat at this stage. But you know, only looking for buys, but we're looking for buys on the lower time frame, so we need a setup on the lower time frame. Is it ready? And as you can see, it possibly isn't ready yet. We get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a bear hidden in here. So again, you know, if you get a sell set up, I mean, I wouldn't be looking for sells down here, but you know, if you're a scalper or whatever, you could look for a sell, and then you'd be looking for the buy. Ideally, it breaks this top here, this bottom here. As soon as this bottom here gets broken, that's when you want to load up on your buys. You know, after this lows here is broken, any buy setup that you get, you know, you definitely want to be looking for that larger A, B, C. You know, the FTSE. This one hasn't played out like I've been looking for. Looking for that A, B, C. We got that flat, that larger flat. I was looking for that to go up and break the top. It did go up and break this top. It didn't go up and break that top, which is fine. you know, but it's now, if we're looking in here, we got a complete structure in here as 3 down. We got an impulse up, correction, and I'm looking for, you know, that 100 fib, and then definitely look for sells, but we haven't got to that 100 fib yet. So, you know, it makes it difficult because on the lower time frames, you know, we got that, definitely could have brought that, and I think at the time we were looking, we were definitely looking for that. And even last week, you know, we had that ball hidden, so I said, you know, if you're looking for sells, you got to be very careful, because we can get another one up in here as 1, 2, 3, 4, get a 5th one up, and then it can come down. But yeah, it's not really playing the game, this one. You know, like on the daily, I'm looking for upside, but you know, how far is this hidden divergence going to go on the H4? You know, it only really has to come up and break that top. Ideally, it's a regular flat, because this is your A wave. This is the low here. That low hadn't been broken, so it's a regular flat. Ideally, this top just gets broken for the regular flat as an A, B, C, and then, you know, we can load up on the buys. Sorry, in the sells. Yeah, it's a buy. You know, you can only buy this, but is it worth buying? That's the thing. You know, you're buying at a top. But yeah, if you got a buy set up in here, Monday, Tuesday, you can look to go. You definitely want to be at break even at the break of that top, because you'll be starting to get, well, we're already starting. Well, if this goes up and breaks that top, more than likely, you know, we'll get bearish divergence. So yeah, there is, you know, you definitely can look for a buy. There's nothing wrong with that. On the H1, you got this impulse up, you'd be waiting for a correction, you know, ideally back to a roughly 50 fib to give you that risk reward, and then you can look for a buy. Yeah. The DAX, we're looking at that A, B, C. A, B, C. We're still looking for more downside. How deep this one goes, I mean, we've been looking for this to fall over for a long time. Something's holding it up. More than likely, fundamentals are holding this pair up, or this instrument up. It's pretty much played out, you know. We got like 1, 2, 3, bounce clean off that 100 fib. Now you're getting impulse up, but it's coming straight back down. So, you know, we don't have, the problem is, and I think I mentioned it last week, we don't have any bullish divergence in here. So the more than likely we get a bear hidden, you know, and we come down and at least go and break that low. More than likely as a complex correction before we get more upside. This goes more into what I teach, but so I won't go into it too much. But this can be like these other pairs that I've shown. We get an A, B, C, A, B, C before we get another one down. And the reason I say that is we have a bull hidden here. So if you get a bullish setup and you want to scalp, you can scalp that up. Then if you get a sell setup, well, you can scalp it down. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.